Hello there, this is Mr. Dunaway. Welcome to Chapter 8, Section 3, Writing Equations, your favorite word problems. Look, this is really a pretty simple process if you just will keep practicing. Just keep practicing and follow some of my recommendations, and you should be able to get through this relatively painlessly. And we're just going to focus on writing the equations today. So please write your name on your notes so you can keep track of them. And we are going to jump right into things and talk about how to translate a sentence or a situation into an equation. Well, I got a few things, a couple of steps for you to go through here. The first thing you always want to do is define your variable. Okay. In other words, tell me what the variable represents. What does the variable have to do with your problem? In other words, all right, think of this question right here. What will you have found when you're done? Like if you solve this particular word problem, will you have found the number of chocolate chip cookies in the jar, the number of puppy dogs? What is it that you would have solved this an amount of money? What is that? You've got to figure that out at the beginning. It makes your life a lot easier as you go. Begin with the end in mind. That's what you do when you define your variable. What is this variable representing in our problem? After you do that, and you've read it a couple of times, you need to look for math words or phrases. Math words in the problem that can be translated into an equation. And if you do that, you might notice they start to become, it starts to become a more simple process. And then from there, that's where you go and you write an equation using your variable that you defined in the first step. Okay, so that's it. Define your variable, look for math words, and then get the equation written. All right, well, let's talk about some common math words. Now, I can't tell you that these are all of the existing ways to say this, but let's talk about some real popular ones that you'll come across. All right, for the word add, to add, one of the words we often hear is the word sum, S-U-M. Sum means to add. Another way you could say add is the phrase more, like I have 5 more than you. Okay, or you might hear more than in that context of he has $5 more than that person. So this person has 12. How much does the other person have? You'd be adding that together. Another word you might come across is increased. Oops. S-E-D. I-N-C-R-E-A-S-E-D. Increased. And sometimes the word and. I have 2 and 3. How much total do I have? Total is 5. Okay, or I have 2 and then it increased 3. That would be 2 plus 3. So those are only some ways that you might say add, but there are more, and you could probably add to this list if you wanted to. Subtract, there's several words here. The one is difference. What's the difference between 8 and 5? That would be 8 minus 5. Another one is less. He has 2 less 10, or less than can mean subtract. Something decreases. He had this and it decreased this amount. We would subtract. I saw one the other day where it said this was 5 feet shorter than 12. It's just one context. Fewer. He has $2 fewer than this guy. If you know how much this guy has, you could subtract it. So there are some words that mean subtract. How about multiply? Well, a real popular one that you need to know is product. Let's see, another way you could say, I could say something doubled. If you say something doubled, basically that means 2 times the amount. And on that note, you could say tripled. His amount of money tripled. That would be 3 times. I know quadrupled is another one. There's another one here that's important though, per. Now per is an interesting word because sometimes it can mean divide and sometimes it can mean multiply. So I'll probably actually put that one in both columns. So you have to really understand the context of what's happening in the problem. If I said I make $5 per hour, it would be 5 times the number of hours. Okay, in that case it would be a multiplication. You might just see the word times. He has 4 times the amount of money that someone else has. Another word, sometimes, of, can mean to multiply depending on the context of the word there. So there's a lot of ways that we can say multiply right there. We'll see some examples here soon. Divide, one math word that means divide is quotient. You'll need to know that one. Quotient means divide. The quotient of x in a number would be x divided by that number. There aren't a lot of just other words that just mean it, but you might see something like this. I'm going to give you just an example here. So I'm going to put quotes. Let's say you went to a restaurant and each person paid the same amount. All right, that's kind of an example of where a division is happening. If we knew that the total amount was, say, $100, if we took 100 divided by the number of people, okay, if they all paid the same amount, you could figure out how much each person paid right there. So when a group is getting the same amount of something, you can think of that as kind of like a division, or repeated subtraction is division there. So equals, the most common one for the word for equals is the word is or are. You might have the same as can mean equals as well. So this list, there's much more that can go to this list. It just depends on the context of situations, and so we can't completely limit ourselves to this list, but hopefully this will be helpful for us as we approach some of these problems in this video here for section 8.3. Okay, so keeping that in mind, let's go on down your page to a couple of problems. So I put the notes here. You don't have to recopy this part here because that's actually already on your page. I just put it here because I went to a new slide. What I want you doing in today's activity is just really practicing defining the variable, looking for math words, and writing an equation. So that's all I'm going to ask you to do today. All right, so let's look at number 1. Okay, so we'll put it this way. The first thing I'm going to do is define. And then the second thing I'm going to do is write the equation. That's what I want this week from us, okay, is if we can define what the variable is and then write an equation. Okay, so let's look at number 1. All right, it says the quotient of a number and 3 less 8 is 16. So there's several math things going on here. So the first thing I want to do is define the variable. I'm going to do that first. All right, so first of all, let's just let the letter n be our variable. Now in this particular problem, when I'm done with this, what will I have found? You will have found some number. That's all this one is. So n is just the number you're looking for. We'll just say number. Okay, so 2, I'm going to go ahead and write the equation now while I look for math words. And here's a math word right here, quotient. If you look back on the chart at the top of your page, here, got cut off, quotient is divide. Okay, so that quotient, that word there means divide. Okay, the quotient of a number and 3. So that means the quotient is between number and 3. So n divided by 3. And then it says less. Less means subtract. You can look at your chart. It should be on there, the second one on your page. Let's look. Here it is. Less is right there. All right, so it's less 3. I did not mean to put that dot there. N divided by 3, I'm sorry, less, I think I said less 3, it's actually less 8, is, okay, there's the equal sign, so put a little equal sign under the is. N divide 3 less 8 equals 16. Now we could go ahead and solve this. We could go plus 8 times 3, but let's just wait on that. What I really want to focus on when I see you next is just, can you write the equation or define the variable and then write the equation. So I'm going to stop here because I'm approaching 10 minutes and it'll give me just enough time to finish the next video.